The full experience of reality is what humans crave more than they crave happiness, even if that's what they think they're craving.
It's more important, that feeling of reality and knowing what's real, than like being happy. And so people choose to live in this desolate wasteland as opposed to the virtual matrix.
Some stories don't just stay with you, they change you. Welcome to Story Obsessed, the podcast for anyone who's ever loved a story more than they can easily explain. I'm your host, Alyssa Much. In every episode, I sit down with someone who's unapologetically obsessed with a specific story. It might be a TV show, a book, movie, short story, a fan fiction, a play, just any narrative that's stuck with someone. We're going to talk about the story, we're going to talk about their obsession with it, and we'll answer our ritual question of who needs this story right now. Today's guest is Aedan Van Acker. He's a corporate recruiter, renowned dungeon master, movie buff, and today he's here to obsess over the Animatrix. So let's get into it.
Hey, Alyssa. I appreciate the renowned dungeon master title. That's very, very kind.
Is it? I feel like everyone talks about your dungeon master skills. I've yet to witness, but I think I will at some point.
I'm trying. It's a skill set I'm working on. So hopefully by the time you actually join a game, it'll be finely tuned.
Well, yeah, so today we're here to talk about the Animatrix, which, by the way, I never knew existed before you told me about it, and I'm so glad you told me about it. Luke and I watched it, and we ended up talking about it for like 2 hours afterwards. For listeners who haven't seen this in a while, or people who are hearing about it for the first time, would you kind of tell us what it is?
Yeah, so it's an animated anthology of little stories. Some of them are kind of almost slices of life. Others are more like prequels or spin-offs of like the Matrix movie source material. But basically, it's these 9 short animated features. Each feature has kind of a unique animation style, all kind of depicting different stories from within the world of the Matrix, or the Matrix universe.
So it's just like, it's short stories. Like, to me, I almost, as I was watching it, I was like, this is like fan fiction that's not fan made. You know what I mean? It's like a very cool, there's little spin-offs, there's things that are directly tie into the films, and then there's things that are totally unrelated characters and places. I wish everything that I'm a fan of would do this. Like, I wish like Lord of the Rings had like a little spin-off short film. I wish Harry Potter, like all my like nerd fandoms. I think it'd be amazing. It should just be like a requirement.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I like it so much, is because I was obsessed with the first Matrix movie when it came out. I saw it like when I was in elementary school, and it blew my mind. So when I found out about the Animatrix, I was so pumped. My uncle actually had the DVD. He was like, "You got to watch this." And yeah, I grabbed that from him, and literally, like, I don't think I ever returned it, but it was, I love it. I think the Matrix for me was more of a, I don't even know how to describe it, because it was a formative viewing experience, similar to, I think the only thing I could really compare it to in how influential it was is like Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah.
Because I started watching Dragon Ball Z when I was probably in like kindergarten, maybe slightly older, and it just sort of shaped the way I think about storytelling and all that sort of stuff. I feel like the Matrix did a kind of similar thing where I don't feel like I have to emulate it or like represent it. It's just like kind of shaped my, like, the way I view storytelling.
And even like life. Like, I don't know. I watched The Matrix for the first time, and I know we're here to talk about the Animatrix, but you can't talk about one without the other. I watched The Matrix for the first time like maybe junior year of high school. And I feel like after that, like everything in your life, you can almost, like, deja vu is like a really good one where like, oh, glitch in the Matrix, like something's wrong, like it just like shapes the way you like operate and move through the world. I love The Matrix, and I think this does an amazing job at kind of expanding that lore. I'm curious if you have like a favorite short, or maybe one or two out of the anthology.
My favorite one, I have a real soft spot. I love the kid story. I think the animation for that one is so cool. When he's like skateboarding, and it's just like all
Kind of fuzzy.
like everything around him is kind of like the environment is really well drawn and really defined, but all of the moving parts are just like crazy. And I also really like, in terms of the storytelling elements, I love the first and second Renaissance.
So good.
Yeah, and then also I really like the house one. I think it's called Beyond.
I loved Beyond. I love when these fantasy worlds or the creators of these worlds explain something that happens in real life that you would, like humans, we like dismiss, like deja vu, or in the case of Beyond, the kids are calling this glitch in the Matrix that they found a haunted house. Like, oh, it's haunted. You come up with like the only way that you know how to like prescribe meaning to something and like, oh, it must be haunted. And then it's yeah, I love that idea that the Matrix could be an explanation for all these different things. So good, and I like that that one's a little bit lighter. After the second Renaissance part 1 and part 2, going into Beyond is just, like, a little bit of a relief from some of the intensity. I wanted to ask you about the Renaissance part 1 and 2. Did you find yourself, like, taking a side between, like, robots or humans? Like, do you have a side in this war?
I mean, I think the first and second Renaissance kind of, I think they're pretty convinced that humans are the problem in this, like in the way they tell the story. Personally, I kind of think like the Matrix is cool in that I feel like they don't really assign good guys and bad guys so much in the storytelling in general. And I feel like, because, the way the Matrix kind of wraps up, I guess spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen the Matrix movies, but Neo ends up needing to work with them. He doesn't like destroy the machines. It doesn't end that way. It's kind of like finally, it's almost like he acts as the link to form some type of union with the machines, which is kind of what it seems like they were looking for in the first place in the Animatrix, like when the war started. So I don't really I feel like, yeah, humans definitely in the start of everything were way worse because they blotted out the sky, which was like just such a stupid move. Like, I mean, it was just like I feel like every turn at every point when they could have made things better, they just made them way worse. But I'm like, I can't say that that's not how it would go.
After watching, I of course had to go to Reddit and read like all the theories and like opinions, and one of the ones that kept coming up was obviously the parallels to like real human atrocities and war crimes that have been committed throughout history. And then the other one though that I thought was interesting was there were a lot of theories that the second Renaissance has an unreliable narrator in the sense that it was created by the machines as like a pro-machine like propaganda. Like essentially like you can't trust what it's showing you. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know if I believe it, but I'm curious your take.
I actually thought it wasn't machine made because it says it's from the records of Zion. At the same time, I don't know how they would have that information without the machines because I don't know how much written history or like documented history from human perspectives would be lying around in like the wasteland post-war for, survivors to find. So I think that's a good call that it's definitely, I think it is probably from an AI perspective. I think that's why the Matrix is so cool because it's not like it's so multidimensional because it's like even though humans are kind of at fault for everything that goes wrong between humans and machines and everything, they still fight back against the machines. It's like becomes more of a fight of like just freedom as opposed to, trying to actually overthrow the machines. It's kind of, I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like two wrongs don't make a right necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we could, I don't want to draw too many parallels to the real world because I don't want to get depressed. But obviously, humans have done horrible things, and in this world, they've done really horrible things. Does that mean that every human for the all of time needs to like be a battery for the robots? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that. I think it's a lot easier to get on the side of the humans when you think about it the way you said it as like a fight for freedom. Because I think that's something that resonates with most people is like free will. Yeah, I really the second run the dude, both of those, like part 1 and part 2, I honestly they're combined in my head at this point, but they're so brutal and they're so violent and they're like deeply unsettling. Like I think I'm gonna have nightmares about it for a long time, like in a good way because it was super good. But there's like one scene where what appears to be a woman and this gang of men like starts to surround her and they like rip her skin and her clothes off to reveal that she's like a robot and they're shouting like she's not real and she's screaming I'm real and it is just so visceral.
Yeah, no, it is a super visceral scene, and I think my perspective on like the way the Wachowskis tell stories is I feel like what I really like about them, like a lot, is that these almost like timeless epics, kind of like a Lord of the Rings or a like an Odyssey type deal, where it's like you can watch The Matrix and draw parallels between several different ideas or theories or like whatever. Like you can assign meaning to some things that other people don't, or other people can interpret some things super differently than maybe you would, and none of those interpretations are wrong. I think it's just like I think that that's part of the reason why I like the world of the Matrix so much is it kind of like it can be sort of whatever you want it to be. But it doesn't force itself into like any sort of like this is a story about this. It's like it's super adaptable.
Yeah, and I think the Animatrix even more so. I think that's a little bit of the freedom that you're given. I guess I shouldn't speak like I've ever made a short film, but I think making these short films, unlike like a full-length feature film, you can leave a little bit to interpretation, and there's a little bit less of like feeling the obligation to explain everything. And I think that's what makes them, like, even more compelling when you're watching them is there's a lot of, like, "Wait a second, like, what does it mean?" Or "What is that?" Or "Did they actually escape or did they not escape the Matrix?" Right? Like, there's all this interpretation and it's open to, like, your perspective. And I think this, specifically the Animatrix, does it so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that their choice to use like that style of hand-drawn animation for the majority of the short films, I feel like it really lends itself to the idea of the Matrix because it's a virtual world. It almost feels like that could just be the Matrix, right? Like you could just be like animated in the Matrix and that wouldn't be weird. Like having it being animated is like
They wouldn't know.
yeah, exactly, right. It's just you could that could be reality and it's like how trippy it is and how trippy it can feel for the people who are kind of waking up or experiencing finding out about the Matrix. It's like I think animation was just such a good choice
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah, no, that's I honestly never thought about them. That's so cool to think about. Like, now that you say that, I'm like, wow, the robots were actually pretty nice to us because, like, they don't have to really create the Matrix for us. Like, they could probably just pump us full of drugs and keep us in these little pods. I feel like they at least were like, hey, let's create a very like rich and lush world for you to like go into. And the thing is that world doesn't necessarily have to be, our live action world. It could have been anything. They could have just done like a I don't know, like a two-dimensional, like, essentially like Mario game, where you're just walking around.
Yeah, there is that moment I know in like the second Matrix, it's like infamous at this point, but when Neo's talking to the architect, basically telling him about how the Matrix was first created and everything, and how they initially had made it a paradise for humans. And he's like, but your brains, like your primitive brains, wouldn't accept the idea of paradise. And like a lot of people just like killed themselves.
Interesting. Being real is more important than being happy, I guess. Like the full experience of reality is what humans crave more than they crave happiness, even if that's what they think they're craving.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that that is like at a very base level kind of the one of the major themes of the Matrix is just like it's more important that feeling of reality and knowing what's real than like being happy. And so people choose to live in this desolate wasteland as opposed to the virtual Matrix, which is like in comparison pretty sweet. I don't know what I'd choose. Obviously, having superpowers in the Matrix sounds pretty dope, but just living a normal life, which, like, who knows? Maybe we're in the simulation now. It's
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah.
know,
You gotta look out for those haunted houses and glitches.
yeah, yeah.
But I think again it's just that longing for like real meaning.
I think kind of that fantasy of like almost like kind of similar to Harry Potter, like get a letter from Hogwarts. It's like it's that same thing with the Matrix, but just on a like kind of in a darker way.
Everyone just feels like there's something inside them that's different and unique, and there is something different and unique inside everyone, but wanting that to be validated in some sort of grand way, I think is a natural longing. So, the other one I wanted to chat with you about was World Record. which when I went online, there's a lot of haters of World Record, and I think it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot of like Reddit threads, or I watched a couple like YouTube like analysis breakdowns, and a lot of them said that it was their least favorite short. And I'm curious if you seem surprised. Tell me more.
That's crazy. I guess like I'm pretty shocked because I think it's such an interesting story. It's so cool that he is able to transcend the matrix through just running really fast and like pushing his body and his mind to that level, which is like, it's cool too because like, they describe when an athlete does something really cool or is like in their flow state, they're like, oh, they're seeing the matrix right now.
Yep.
It's like a perfect analogy because when you are doing something physical at that type of level, which like I don't have experience with, that level of athletics, but I know that even when I'm just doing what I do physically at like a really good level, like I feel really good, I get into my own flow state, it can feel like that, like things sort of like reality kind of gets warped, like your perception of time, your like how you see things, you're like you're kind of like doing things
Hmm.
automatically. And I thought that was a really cool way to show someone breaking out of the matrix without the help of someone who's already been freed, because it also gave insight into like, oh, there are ways to get out other than someone showing you.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. What did you make of the fact that the code in that short is red compared to when it's normally green?
It's funny. That's an interesting detail you bring up because I didn't even really consider that. I mean, because it is always green. I thought maybe that was just a stylistic choice because it's coming out of like the red ground of the
Hmm.
track. But I don't know. What do you think? I'm curious what you think about this.
I felt the same. I felt like it was just like a stylistic choice. Some of the theories are that it's like the original version of the Matrix that they had to like delete and redo. There were theories that it's not actually the Matrix and that it's like a simulation within the simulation. There were all these different theories. I think the one I like the best is just that it's an older version of the like I like this idea that there's like different versions of the Matrix that were created and destroyed, and, like, maybe he's in a different Matrix somewhere. I think, again, that just, like, expands the world a little in a fun way of, like, oh, what if there's, like, different what if each, like, tower of human batteries has a different simulation running?
Yeah, and that's again, that's what I love about the Matrix is like just how much you can really dig in and like the amount of storytelling options and lore there is that could potentially be out there.
The other thing, and I have to give Luke credit for this because he said it, and I don't wanna steal his very insightful thoughts on it, but a lot of the, like, summaries on that short are just, "Oh, he, like, ran so fast that he, like, physically woke himself up out of the Matrix for a minute there." Luke's theory and how he interpreted it was the guy ran so fast that the code never anticipated that a human could run that fast, so it never coded the environment to be able to, like, keep up with it, and that's what broke the Matrix, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a really cool thought that it's like the Matrix couldn't actually handle a human being running that fast. I honestly think there's so many ways to look at it because it's almost like with when you have like a compute like a glitch on your computer or something like messes up. It's like I don't know. For me, I never know the reason. It's like something will just stop working, and I'm like, what? And then you restart it, and it's like, oh no, it's fine now. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So like it could have just been a combination of that, like the Matrix not anticipating him running that quickly, and also maybe there being like a temporary glitch at the same moment, and also like him kind of transcending consciousness.
Yeah. Do you think that machines can have sentience?
Like in real life.
Yeah. Like, do you think the Matrix could ever happen?
I don't really necessarily see why not, because I mean, we already are dabbling with AI, and it's actually kind of insane how ahead of its time the Matrix was in a lot of ways.
So you're, like, rewatching the Animatrix, and, like, I watched, a recap of The Matrix again because 'cause it'd been a while since I last watched it, and the whole time I was like, "This is so ahead of its time." Like, if they made this movie now, like, it wouldn't even be that groundbreaking. People would just be like, "Oh, like, whatever. Like, yeah, AI, we all know this."
It's interesting because they almost behave large language
Mm-hmm.
models, the machines, because it's like if they aren't fully sentient, like they have programming and they have parameters, but they can improvise and think and like make decisions on their own in accordance with their programming. But they're just much faster, stronger. It's like the agents, that's what makes them so scary, is they can like they can dodge bullets, punch through walls. It's almost the equivalent to like a human being playing an LLM in chess or something, but it doesn't make it sentient. It just makes it better than you.
Similar to language models like AI models today, I think that they are programmed to essentially, translate themselves or shapeshift themselves into something that the human can understand. When you think about like the way language models talk to us when we, use chat or Claude or whatever your model of choice is, it tries to like relate everything back to you in a way that's really creepy if you're like aware of it and you start to pay attention to it. It's also very people pleasy. Like everything you say is such a great idea, everything's amazing, to the point that it can really start to shift your perception of your own ideas and reality. And I feel like that moment where they morph into this like face to talk to him through, I don't think they're doing that because they need to be the shape of a human face. You know what I mean? I think they're doing that because they know that the best way to communicate with a human is to make it look like a human.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great comparison. Like and yeah, you're right. There's so much affirmation with the models. It's like, wow, didn't think about it that way. That's a great call. Like, let me, um,
Wow.
yeah, no,
I fell asleep thinking about that idea you told me about yesterday.
yeah. I'm curious. I have like a couple questions
Yeah.
for you. Why in Matriculated, when after everyone's dead and that woman is like the only survivor, and the robot plugs her into the simulation, why do you think she like panics?
I think she realizes that she's now trapped there forever with the robot, which I think is really messed up. I think it's really messed up because I think they bring this robot in with this agenda of like, hey, learn to care about humans, learn to empathize with us, like see all the beauty that is a human soul, so to speak. They're essentially, I guess that's a really interesting like tie back. I feel like they were trying to teach it to have a soul, is what I like, a human soul. And so that all happens, and she like forms this connection with this machine, and then she doesn't mean any of it, right? She's using the machine to fight for the humans, because then when she's actually trapped with the machine for the rest of time, most likely, she freaks out. And I think that's just proving that she never valued the machine, right? It was always about their own survival or whatever it is in its own messed up way, like not assigning too much evil to this character who's obviously just trying to survive. But yeah, I think she freaks out because she realizes she's stuck with this robot friend for the rest of her life or eternity, maybe not even life.
I think I thought that at first as well, but I couldn't tell because rewatching it, she kind of like evaporates, and I was like, is she freaking out because she's realizing he caught her as she was slipping into like death?
Oh, okay.
She now like kind of crosses over in the Matrix, like,
Just like that last moment.
yeah, like her experience of death is like being booted into the virtual world, and then she's like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm dead.
Mhm.
I also agree, like it could just be because she realizes like, oh, now I'm stuck here forever. That's such a crazy, because she comes out so happy and then like has that complete 180.
After that happens, doesn't it like flash to a scene of the robot like sitting looking at the like destroyed, like I don't know, base or whatever you would call it? And I guess maybe that would, because at that, when I saw that, I didn't really know what to make of it. I think it was kind of just like this open ended of like, oh, what is the machine thinking or something. But now I wonder, did she die? And that's why he's not like in the simulation with her. That he like came back out and was just like, oh, now I'm alone in this like wasteland.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, that one, even though it's not one of my favorites, that one's super trippy because it's like they purposely put this robot through like an insane psychedelic trip to like awaken its humanity.
And I think that goes back to there's something about humans that the robots can't program around. Like there's something special. Every human is like the chosen one in a way. Like we all have this like innate humanness that the robots can't imprison.
And no matter how methodical they are about keeping us under control or exterminating us, like the resistances, it's like we just always keep kind of like confounding them in some way.
Gosh, thank you so much. I have one last little section I always like to do. It's called our ritual question. The ritual question is like, who needs this story right now, or who should watch or read or, consume this story right now? And I'm curious, who do you think should watch this? Is there a specific type of person you think needs to see this?
With, everything we're dealing with in terms of social media, AI, human beings getting a little more confined by technology, not as social as we used to be, a little more solitary, kind of, getting manipulated by technology a bit more.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of the themes of the Matrix we're kind of seeing play out in like such a on the nose way, where it's like, you see everyone glued to their phones walking around, but then you start seeing kids who are like, college age or whatever, now walking around with like kind of like these like headphones, like with cords on them. And it's almost like people are starting to rebel against ever encroaching technological, like this oppressive force of technology that like keeps just getting more and more. It keeps like pushing itself ever deeper into your life and everyday life, and everything now depends on it. And it's just like, you can see people starting to push back against it, which is really cool and kind of reminds me of the Matrix. So I think it's such a good depiction of kind of what we're going through now. And if you're like thinking about it in sort of a amorphous way, like, oh, I felt like things were better in like 2010 or whatever, what's changed, or like I feel like things have gotten so crazy with technology. It's like you can watch the Animatrix and be like, oh, like, and watch after seeing like the first and second Renaissance, it's like, oh wow, okay, that kind of hits the nail on the head of kind of what I'm feeling, even though I know we're not in that situation. That's sort of what I'm feeling. And then all the subsequent stories tell these like really almost encouraging stories of humanity being able to kind of rise up against that and kind of not have our spirits broken by technology.
Wow, that really just like changed something in my brain, I think. Wow, I completely agree. Yeah, it's interesting. I obviously drew the parallel to AI, right? Like the current state of AI that we're experiencing, especially with these, people pleasing robots that tell us how amazing we are all the time. But I didn't quite draw the parallel of like essentially the physical oppression, as like we are going through a version of that every day right now, and people are pushing back. And yeah, I have seen more people with like wired headphones, people going back to less advanced forms of technology. Like the other day, like one of my friends like bought a boom box with like a tape cassette player in it, and they're like ordering tapes off eBay and stuff. And I think it's really easy to scoff at that and be like, oh, it's just nostalgia. They're just preying on your nostalgia. But I think there is something a little bit deeper there of, no, people are trying to push back from tech invading every space in their life. So yeah, I love that you said that. Now that you say that, like to take it to a more logistical place, I almost want it to be like you like roll out the like little TV they roll in. They probably don't do that anymore, so I'm showing my age, but they roll the TV in for like the sex talk in school. I want them to roll that out, and then I want them to roll in the Animatrix on VHS and just make every high schooler watch this. Because yeah, I agree. I think it's just something that it could benefit anyone to think a little bit harder about the place of technology in our lives, and how badly we want it to be. Like, how convenient do we want our life to be? Because they made these robots purely for the sake of convenience, which is exactly what we're doing now. We're trying to make these humanoid robots to do different tasks. But what are we sacrificing for that? All right, thank you again, Aiden, for coming on and getting obsessed with the Animatrix with me. I think a lot of parts of this conversation are going to stay with me, and I have a feeling I'm going to be like calling you or texting you as more thoughts pop into my brain about it. But for anyone listening, if this episode meant something to you or made you think a little bit differently about, the stories you love, Share it with someone, leave a review, or come find us somewhere online. I'm Alyssa. This is Story Obsessed, and maybe there's a story you've been meaning to come back to.
Well, thank you so much, Alyssa. This has been super fun. And I'm really glad you watched this because I don't think I've been able to force anyone in my life to watch this like since I was like maybe like I don't know, it's 17 or something.